Depletion ends here. You've been giving pieces of yourself away for so long that there's barely anything left. Every time someone asks for your time, you say yes. Every request for your energy gets granted. Every favor asked gets fulfilled. And somewhere along the way, you forgot that your time, energy, and willingness to help are finite resources that deserve protection, that deserve respect, that deserve reciprocity. Right now, you're probably running on empty, exhausted from constantly serving everyone else's needs while your own remain unmet. Frustrated that people keep taking without ever giving back. Hurt that the people you help most value you least. And the hardest truth to accept is that you taught them this. By never saying no, you trained them that your resources are unlimited and freely available. That accessing you requires no effort, no appreciation, no reciprocation. The people in your life have learned that you're always there, always willing, always available. And once someone learns they can access you without cost or effort, they stop valuing that access. Not because they're bad people, though some are, but because humans naturally take for granted what costs them nothing. When your yes is guaranteed, it becomes worthless. When your help is automatic, it becomes expected. When your presence is constant, it becomes invisible. You've been afraid that setting boundaries will push people away. That saying no will make them angry. That protecting your energy will label you as selfish. And you're right, some people will be angry. Some will push back. Some will even leave. But here's what you need to understand. Those are exactly the people who were exploiting your lack of boundaries. The ones who get upset when you start protecting yourself are the ones who benefited most from you not protecting yourself. This isn't about becoming mean or uncaring. It's about finally treating yourself with the same care and respect you give everyone else. It's about understanding that you can't pour from an empty cup. That giving everything to everyone leaves nothing for yourself. That boundaries aren't walls to keep people out. They're gates that ensure only people who respect you get access to you. Machiavelli understood that leaders who gave freely without discernment were taken advantage of, while leaders who gave strategically were valued and respected. That unlimited generosity was seen as weakness to exploit rather than virtue to appreciate. That protecting your resources wasn't selfishness. It was necessary self-preservation that forced others to recognize your value. This video will show you 8 specific ways to deny favors, time, and energy that force people to finally recognize and respect your real value. Not through cruelty, but through firm, loving boundaries that protect what you've been giving away too freely. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my energy. Machiavelli's wisdom on strategic denial. Machiavelli observed that princes who granted every request became servants in perception, while princes who carefully considered each request maintained their authority and respect. The difference wasn't in their capability or willingness to help. It was in their discernment about when and how to give. Saying yes to everything degraded their value. Saying yes strategically maintained it. Your boundaries follow the same principle. 1. The compassionate I need to check my capacity first. Here's your first boundary. Never commit immediately to requests. When someone asks for your time, energy, or a favor, respond with genuine care but firm boundary. I need to check my capacity before I can commit to that. This does something powerful. It communicates that you have a full life with priorities that exist independent of their needs, and that helping them requires making room, not automatically having room. Most people say yes immediately because immediate yes feels helpful and kind. But immediate yes teaches people that you're always available, that your schedule automatically accommodates them, that you don't have competing priorities. This signals that your time has no value because it's never allocated to anything that can't be instantly displaced for them. When you say, "I need to check my capacity," you're communicating several important things. First, your time is already allocated. You have a life beyond waiting to serve others. Second, helping them would require rearranging things that matter to you. Third, you take your commitments seriously enough to consider whether you can fulfill them well. Fourth, your yes isn't automatic. It's thoughtful and intentional. Think about people whose time you deeply respect. Do they immediately say yes to every request? Or do they consider their capacity before committing? The people we respect most protect their resources by checking whether they genuinely have capacity before offering help. This isn't selfishness. It's integrity about not overcommitting. The specific practice with kindness. When someone asks for help, respond warmly but firmly. "I appreciate you thinking of me. Let me check my schedule and what I've already committed to, and I'll get back to you." Then actually check. Do you have genuine capacity? Will helping cost you in ways you're willing to pay? When you respond, whether yes or no, they'll know your answer came from real consideration, not automatic obligation. This forces people to see you as someone with a full life, not an empty vessel waiting to be filled with their needs. And people who respect you will appreciate that your yes, when it comes, is genuine and sustainable, rather than obligated and resentful. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My boundaries protect me. 2. The honest. I'm already overextended and need to pull back. Pay attention to this boundary that requires vulnerability. Be honest about your depletion. When you're genuinely exhausted from giving too much, say it. I've overextended myself trying to help everyone, and I'm depleted. I need to pull back and focus on replenishing myself for a while. This honesty makes visible the cost of all the yeses you've been giving freely. Most people hide their exhaustion. They keep saying yes while burning out, because admitting depletion feels like admitting failure. But hiding your exhaustion allows people to keep depleting you without recognizing the cost. They don't see that your generosity has limits because you keep giving past those limits while pretending you're fine. When you honestly name your depletion, several powerful things happen. First, people who genuinely care about you will be concerned and supportive. They'll back off and encourage you to rest. Second, people who only value your utility will reveal themselves by pushing for what they want anyway, or minimizing your exhaustion. Third, you give yourself permission to prioritize recovery. Fourth, you establish that there are real consequences to taking too much. Eventually, the well runs dry. Think about how you'd respond if someone you care about told you they were burned out from helping everyone. You'd probably feel concern, maybe even guilt if you'd been one of the people asking for help. You'd encourage them to rest and take care of themselves. Most people who genuinely value you will respond the same way. Those who don't reveal they never cared about your well-being. The practice with vulnerability. When you're genuinely depleted, say it clearly. I've been saying yes too much, and I'm exhausted. I need to stop taking on anything new and focus on taking care of myself for a while. I hope you understand. If they ask when you'll be available again, be honest. I don't know yet. I need to prioritize my own recovery first. This forces recognition that you're human with limits, not an infinite resource. And people's response to your honesty tells you exactly what you need to know about whether they value you or just value what you provide. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose respect always. 3. The kind, that's not something I'm able to help with. Here's a boundary that's both gentle and firm. Acknowledge the request while declining without elaborate justification. I understand you need help with that, but it's not something I'm able to help with. No apologies. No long explanations. Just clear, kind acknowledgement followed by firm boundary. When you over-explain your no, you're implicitly asking permission to have boundaries. You're suggesting your no is only valid if they agree with your reasoning. And this opens the door for them to argue with your reasons, negotiate around your boundaries, or guilt you into changing your answer. Every explanation becomes ammunition for them to push back. A simple kind, that's not something I'm able to help with, is complete in itself. You're not saying you don't want to help. You're saying you're not able to. Maybe you lack capacity. Maybe it's outside your boundaries. Maybe it would cost you too much. The specific reason doesn't matter, because your boundary doesn't require their approval to be valid. Think about the difference between I can't help because I have so much going on and I'm really stressed and I promised myself I'd focus on my own stuff this weekend, versus that's not something I'm able to help with. The first invites debate. Can't your stuff wait? Can't you make an exception? The second is a closed statement that doesn't invite negotiation. The practice with gentleness. When someone requests something that doesn't work for you, respond with warmth but firmness. I hear that you need help with this, and I'm not able to help with that. If they push for reasons, you can add, it just doesn't work for me right now, without elaborating further. Your kindness is in the acknowledgement. Your boundary is in the clear no. This teaches people that your boundaries exist independent of their understanding or approval, that you don't need to justify protecting yourself, that your no is a complete sentence wrapped in compassion. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my energy. 4. The reciprocal, I can help if you can help me with something. Here's a boundary that teaches mutual exchange. Make your help conditional on reciprocity. When someone asks for a favor, respond with, I can help with that if you can help me with specific request. This transforms one-sided extraction into mutual support and immediately reveals who values exchange versus who expects one-way service. You've probably been trained to help unconditionally, to give without expecting anything in return, to be there for others regardless of whether they're there for you. And while this feels noble, it creates relationships where you're the permanent giver and others are permanent takers. Conditional help forces acknowledgement that relationships should involve mutual benefit, not one-sided service. When you make help conditional on reciprocity, several things happen. First, people who genuinely value mutual relationships will happily reciprocate. They want to support you as much as you support them. Second, people who only valued your one-way service will balk at the condition. They never intended reciprocity. Third, you immediately sort relationships into reciprocal versus extractive. Fourth, you establish that accessing your resources requires contributing to yours. Think about healthy friendships. They naturally involve give and take. Nobody expects one person to always give while the other always takes. Reciprocity isn't transactional. It's the foundation of mutual care. But in relationships where boundaries were never set, somehow expecting reciprocity gets labeled as selfish. This is exactly the mindset that enables exploitation. The practice with clarity. When someone asks for help, respond, "I can do that if you can help me with genuine, reasonable request." Make it specific and equivalent in effort. If they agree, you both benefit. If they refuse or act like your condition is unreasonable, you've learned they only valued one-way extraction. And you've just protected yourself from continued exploitation. This forces people to see you as someone with needs, not just as a service to be consumed. It reframes the dynamic from "you exist to serve me" to "we help each other." And people who truly care about you will welcome this opportunity to reciprocate. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My boundaries protect me. 5. The protective. I've already committed that time to myself. Pay attention to this reframe that elevates self-care. Treat time you've allocated to yourself as commitments that deserve the same respect as commitments to others. I've already committed that time to rest, self-care, just personal projects. This establishes that your needs are priorities, not afterthoughts to be sacrificed whenever someone else needs you. Most people treat self-commitments as flexible in ways they'd never treat commitments to others. Doctor appointment for someone else? Unmovable. Time for your own rest. Well, if someone needs you, obviously that can be sacrificed. This asymmetry teaches people that your needs don't matter as much as theirs. When you defend self-commitments with the same firmness you defend other commitments, you're making a powerful statement. You're saying that time allocated to your well-being is as important as time allocated to anything else. That choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. That your needs deserve protection, not just accommodation if there's leftover time. Think about people whose time is genuinely respected. They don't sacrifice self-care every time someone asks for help. They protect time for themselves, and others learn to work around those boundaries. Your time deserves the same protection. Your rest deserves the same respect. Your needs deserve the same priority. The practice with conviction. When someone requests time you've set aside for yourself, respond, I've already committed that time to rest, self-care, to personal work I need to do. Don't apologize. Don't suggest your self-commitment is less important. Just state clearly that this time is allocated and therefore not available. If they push, you can add, this is something I need to do for myself, and I'm not willing to cancel it. This forces people to see that your life includes priorities beyond serving them. That you have needs that deserve protection. That accessing your time requires respecting that sometimes it's genuinely not available because you've committed it to yourself. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose respect always. 6. The clear, I can help once but not repeatedly. Here's a boundary that prevents one-time helps from becoming permanent obligations. When you do say yes, explicitly limit the scope. I can help with this one time, but I can't make it a regular thing. This prevents people from assuming your single yes establishes ongoing availability. Most boundary problems start with one yes that becomes assumed permanent availability. You help someone move once, suddenly you're their moving person. You cover someone's shift once, suddenly you're the go-to for every coverage need. The exception becomes the rule, and you're trapped providing ongoing help you never agreed to. When you explicitly limit your yes, you're drawing a clear line. This is exceptional help happening once, not standard service you're committing to provide indefinitely. They can't later claim they thought you were always available because you explicitly stated this was one-time help. Think about the difference between, sure, I can help you move, and I can help you move this one time, but I can't be your regular moving person. You'll need another plan for future moves. The second prevents the first from becoming repeated expectation. The practice with clarity. When saying yes to something you don't want to become pattern, add explicit limitation. I can do this once, but this isn't something I can do regularly going forward. Or, I'm helping today, but you'll need to find another solution for next time. Make clear your yes is bounded, not open-ended. This protects you from the trap where your generosity gets exploited into ongoing obligation. People can't claim they thought you'd always help because you explicitly stated this was one-time assistance. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I protect my energy. 7. The thoughtful, let me think about it and get back to you. Pay attention to this boundary that creates decision space. Refuse to decide immediately under pressure. When someone asks for your help, respond with, "That's a significant request. Let me think about whether I have capacity for that and get back to you." This removes pressure to say yes in the moment and gives you space to make considered decisions. Immediate responses often lead to resentful yeses. Someone asks, you feel pressured to answer. You say yes to avoid confrontation or disappointment, then you regret it. But once you've said yes, backing out feels harder than it should. You're trapped by a decision you made under pressure without proper consideration. When you take time to consider, several things happen. First, you remove immediate pressure that clouds judgment. Second, you can honestly assess whether helping serves you. Third, some requests resolve themselves during the delay, saving you from unnecessary help. Fourth, you establish that your yes requires thoughtful consideration, not automatic compliance. Think about important decisions in your life. Do you make them instantly under pressure? Or do you take time to consider? Your time and energy are important resources. They deserve thoughtful allocation, not pressured immediate commitment. The practice with care. When someone asks for help, respond, "That's something I need to think about. Let me check my capacity and commitments, and I'll get back to you by specific time." Then actually consider, do I have genuine capacity? Does this serve me? Is this reciprocal? When you respond yes or no, it will come from considered choice, not pressured reaction. This forces people to accept that your resources aren't automatically available for immediate claiming, that accessing your help requires you making conscious choice, not reflexive compliance. And considered decisions lead to healthier boundaries than pressured reactions. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. My boundaries protect me. 8. The firm. I'll let you know if I can, but don't count on me. Here's the final boundary that removes assumed availability. When someone requests help, respond in a way that removes their ability to depend on you automatically. I'll see if I can make that work, but you should make other plans, just in case I can't. This shifts burden back to them, while maintaining your flexibility. When you immediately commit yes or no, you're taking responsibility for their problem. Yes means you're solving it. no means you've definitively refused. But maybe but don't count on it maintains your flexibility while forcing them to remain responsible for their own solution. When you use this response, several things happen. First, they make backup plans instead of depending entirely on you. Second, if you do help, they're grateful rather than entitled because it wasn't guaranteed. Third, if you don't help, they're not left stranded because you told them not to count on you. Fourth, you maintain control without committing immediately. Think about how differently people value guaranteed help versus uncertain help that comes through. Guaranteed help gets taken for granted. Uncertain help that materializes gets deeply appreciated. By making your help uncertain, you increase its perceived value whether you ultimately help or not. The practice with firmness. When someone asks for help, respond, "I'll see if I can make that work, but you need to have a backup plan, because I might not be able to." Then genuinely consider whether helping serves you. If it does, you can help. If it doesn't, you already told them not to depend on you. Either way, you've protected yourself from being the guaranteed solution to their problem. This forces people to see your help as potential bonus, not guaranteed baseline. As something to be grateful for if it happens, not something to be expected automatically. And that reframe is essential for getting people to finally value what they've been taking for granted. I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose respect always, protecting your worth through loving boundaries. So here's what these 8 boundaries reveal. Your value isn't recognized when you give freely to everyone. It's recognized when you protect yourself by giving thoughtfully. Checking capacity before committing shows you have a full life. Honestly naming depletion makes costs visible. Declining without over-explaining maintains boundary integrity. Conditioning help on reciprocity forces mutual exchange. Defending self-commitments elevates your needs. Limiting scope prevents exploitation. Taking decision time removes pressure. Making help uncertain increases its value. This isn't about becoming selfish or unhelpful. It's about finally protecting yourself from people who've been treating your generosity as their entitlement. It's about forcing recognition that your time, energy, and willingness to help are valuable resources that deserve respect, reciprocity, and appreciation. Machiavelli would remind you that those who give without boundaries are exploited, while those who give strategically are valued. That unlimited availability signals worthlessness, while thoughtful limitation signals value. That protecting your resources isn't cruelty. It's necessary self-care that forces others to finally see your worth. The people who genuinely value you will respect these boundaries. They'll appreciate that your yes, when it comes, is genuine and sustainable. They'll reciprocate because they want mutual care. The people who get angry at your boundaries were only there to exploit your lack of them. And losing exploiters isn't loss, it's liberation. If this video showed you how to protect your worth through loving boundaries, hit that like button. Share it with someone who gives too much to people who appreciate too little. And subscribe, because we're going to keep showing you how to protect your goodness instead of letting it be exploited. Now, I want you to drop this final affirmation in the comments. I am powerful and kind. Protect yourself fiercely. Give thoughtfully. Demand respect. Now go force the world to recognize your value by finally refusing to give it away for free.